Welcome back. Finally getting around to wrapping these front brake calipers or finishing this job up. I did the driver's side about 2 weeks ago, and I had a wedding, some other stuff go on during the weekends. Cars come through I needed to knock out, so now I got some free time today after work, so I'm about to tackle this one. First thing first, safety. See, I got my jack stand up under there. Keep my jack up under there. Would put my wheel, but I don't want to damage my wheel if the car does fall on it. Next thing to get started, remove brake pads and brake shims, then clean the caliper. So I'm about to go ahead and do that, and I come back after I've done that. Then I'll tell y'all, I'll show you the wrap, why I cut the wrap this way, and the best way that I find to wrap the calipers so far since I've done this whole project. Alright, got the pads out. So my next step would be to clean the brake caliper thoroughly. So I'm gonna go ahead and clean that, get as much off as possible. Then I'll double check it again, give it one last wipe down. Then I'm gonna start the wrap, creating my inlays and covering areas that I know the wrap will not stretch, nor that I can stretch down into when I wrap the caliper. Okay, got the caliper about as clean as I'm gonna get it. Cleaned all creases and crevices. Now I'm gonna point out a few areas that you would not wrap, well, you would not try to form the wrap to. You won't form to this area, wrap straight across as if it was flat there. If you decide to wrap the full back, you won't wrap across that crevice either. Also, I stop the wrap about right there. And if you change the brakes, you'll see the little pad block where it's unpowder coated from the factory. So I stop my wrap there. Same thing on the top. Now on the back side, I take it a little farther down, just past the hole. And the only reason, that's just for viewers. So if you walk by the car or got it parked and you looking in detail, you won't see it. But past point where the pins go in on the back, I don't wrap. No point. Also, I wrap to about here also. Maybe a little farther, just depending on how well my wrap stretch. But typically about here, this little hump, maybe there. Why? Because you can't see it. Yeah, I think I did to about there. Leave that part. You can't see it. Same thing down here. Actually, you can stop right at the line here, and you don't have to go across. So you can wrap less down here. Now I wrap all down there, the flat face here, all the way up, and across to about here. So no matter which way you look, you can't see red, except for maybe some little small areas in there. Alright, next thing is the wrap. Now, there's a company that sells this online, already pre-cut in a 1 foot by 1 foot section. I just put it up to show. Yeah, it looks like it's enough to cover it, but it's not. Once you get the covering crevices and all that, that disappears very fast. I initially bought a 1 foot by 6 inch, and again, it didn't cover. As you can see, it's short. Only way to get it is end to end like that. But that's not ideal for wrapping because it creates stress and you'll end up stressing the color out. And with this particular wrap, it glows when the light hit it at night. So what I did was took it, as you can see, I made a cut there. Cut it like that. Now what I do with that is I want to say I take this top half and I start about right here, and the reason why, because it hides the seam. When I come over like that, even if you look at it like that, the seam doesn't stick out as much. This flat part here will be wrapped in a single piece that's just flat. That makes it very easy. The seam will stop about here. So when I put this piece over and come down, Well, I actually start and come up, stop about here. I may stick another seam right in that line so it visually matches what you see with lines. But just depends. I may do it like I did the other side. But I know for a fact this is gonna be wrapped separately, and then either the face part will come over, coming down, or either starting going up. Don't really matter. As for these little caps, like this area, this will be done with an inlay. I will do an inlay there. The only part that may be fully solid is this face. Maybe about here will be fully solid. Just depends kind of on how the wrap go. I'm gonna try and film it. Hopefully it doesn't take as long as the other side took. I'm gonna try and film it, but that's the game plan. Flat here, inlay, inlay that way, inlay that way, inlay that way, inlay that way. You may think that you can just heat it and press it in, but you'll end up taking the color out and the little crevices, trying to press them down in there. Then this wrap seems to be very tacky. So when you do heat it up and push down in there, it kind of tends to stick on your finger and not to this. Also, this will also be one. So I have a corner cut there, and kind of fan out and catch all of that. So let me go ahead and get set up and get going, and I'll get back to y'all. Alright, first inlay is laid in. What you're gonna do, you gotta have a pretty steady hand. My hands ain't steady and I can do it, but it's possible. But you really need a steady hand to do it. Alright, I'm not gonna zoom in, but when I peel it, you'll be able to see how close I cut it. Also, if you end up destroying the whole sheet, don't just ball it up. Take your scraps, stick it back onto the sheets, because you can use that scrap for later to fill in places, and that's how I was able to create my inlays. It's not a perfect cut around, but once you wrap over it, you won't even really be able to tell there's a seam and everything there for the inlay. As you can already see in the sun, you can see the reflective properties that you're catching already. So let me go ahead and try to do the bottom part of the inlay for you all. Alright, I pressed it in. Make sure I got no wrinkles coming off the edge. I'll push the wrinkles as far down as possible, because I'm going to cut right along there.
It sound right, boy.
Also, have you some extra blades. One of these will not do it, not even two. You probably need about 3 of these, maybe more, depending on how many cuts you cut. And you'll go through maybe every cut or so, you have to break a piece off. Also, you don't have to apply much pressure. Very light pressure. You can almost drag it over the wrap and it'll cut through. And there you go. All I gotta do is go back and cut, trim that one a little bit, and that'll make it a clean cut.
It sound right, boys.
Okay, I messed that one up. Still not gonna throw it away. Cause I may be able to potentially use it on a different one. You gotta remember also where you cut, another piece in, press it. And I messed up again. So let me go ahead and get going with this. Then I come back after I get all my inlays cut. Alright, done with the second inlay. See, can I zoom in? Alright, as you can see, the wrinkles are there. But once I go back and cut along the base of that radius, those will disappear because I'll be able to get rid of them. Then I'm gonna make another cut that barely comes across the face of it. As you can see, I barely crest the bend of it. Might be hard to see on camera, but I barely crest the bend. I'm gonna cut all around that, and then it'll just be enough to cover just the outside of the bend, and that'll be it. And then it'll look flawless. Any bubbles, you can use your knife and poke a hole in it, heat it, and press it down. It'll lay flat and stay. So I'm gonna go back and trim, then I'll show y'all the after effect. Alright, now it's cut. I cut a little short, but I'll probably be able to pull that piece up, add a little heat, and just pull down a little bit since I already preheated it so it'll shrink back. So I can probably heat it, stretch it just a little bit to get it. That corner that I left, I'm gonna round it off because short edges seem to show more through once you wrap over. So I'm gonna round it off so it doesn't show as much. But yeah, you have to do this inlay for this. I'm pretty sure if I had a professional rapper here, they'd tell me the same thing or do the same thing. From all the videos I've watched, it's just sometimes it's just very hard to get in complex corners and shapes and stuff like that. Alright, I pulled it without any heat and stretched it back down. I was able to cover it so that will blend very well. And overall, I'm zoomed in on it a lot right now, 10x to be exactly. So yes, it's gonna stand out, but if I zoom out, can't see it. The naked eye may or may not pick it up, just depending on how hard you're looking. But once it's fully wrapped, you really won't notice it. There are cars that are wrapped that does the same thing. You probably wouldn't notice it if you walked by and wasn't looking or didn't know the look. Alright y'all, so what I did was take and cut. That is a triangle, so one will go there, one will go there, and as you see, it'll cover most of that. And once I put that across, you really won't catch the seam too much. As long as it's a clean cut, you really won't see the seam. It's just transition. And if you getting that close on it trying to inspect, then you getting too close. I treat it like the rock chip. That's how I'm gonna treat it, like a rock chip.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys.
That's me trying to remember my triangle. And I also trying to use a cold stretch. If I can usually get a crease to the edge, I can usually get it out.
right, boys.
Alright, all I gotta do, I could have left that part covered like that, but all I gotta do is trim around it just inside of the original, or I can cut just outside of the original. And being that I already added heat to this area, I don't really have to worry about, my hands are dirty, but I don't have to really worry about anything pulling back. As for the wrinkled edges, once I trim and cut there, just around the edge, that'll relieve the stress. Then that'll take the wrinkles out. And then when I slap this piece across, I may just leave it right there, slap that piece across, then when I wrap that over and go ahead and put heat to it, I don't have to worry about it pulling back later. But I'm probably gonna leave that piece there. I cut it later. I should be good up here also. I'll probably be able to play with this a little bit more and get these last few wrinkles out.
It sound right, boy.
Basically what I did, that was just force the crease farther and farther into the edge, just to show y'all with the bubbles. There you go. So now to do my next section, I'm probably gonna do a section covering this, and then when I wrap up, you won't even notice it because I end the section about there, which is a natural line that you will see, and that should hide the seam. Okay, I'd say I'm about 70 to 80% done. As you can see, still had debated where I was gonna cut out the little slots that I did earlier with the inlays there and there. See, I put that one there. See, it covers all of that. Did my best with the wrinkles right there. I may be able to press on it a little bit more and stretch and get it out. Some of the little wrinkles I can't quite get out because where I cut it, I didn't cut enough. But I may be able to heat and press it down and it'll be all right. But I'll work with it and try. But that's where I'm at so far with this project. And I gotta cut one more piece for right across the top below the pins. Go ahead and cut that square, then I'll be able to wrap on up to the top. Probably gonna try to cover from behind the pins over into that square. Then after that, I should be able to wrap the whole face up and then cut, and that should be it. Cut, I may cut the piece that I'm gonna use to cover this about here, cut it to there, and then follow that line up, and then the same thing there. Cut it to there, follow that line up, and then over. That's the best way I've came up with hiding seams. Again, I'm not a professional. This is my very first time wrapping. So I'm just kind of feeling it out, doing what I think is best. As I do more wrap projects, and later on I decide to change the color or just redo it because I want it cleaner, I'll film it again. Alright, now I'm coming to the last part. Try to get the zoom right for you all. Alright, that last part, which is difficult to cover. So the reason you're seeing like two pieces is because I'm finna lay a piece down, and then the piece that's coming up from the bottom is gonna cover into that piece. So it'll be covered off, and then I just got the back part of the caliper to cover. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut this, and then when I come back, it'll be all done on the front side till I get to the back. And there we go. We're done. I was able to put the inlay in, and as you can see with my headlamp, the way it lights up, but thank y'all for tuning in to this long video. Like, comment, and subscribe. I'll see y'all later.